Dr. Disrespect is back on the internet again, so let's talk about it. Just yesterday on September 6th, Dr. Disrespect went live with a 5.5-hour stream titled The Truth, in which he spills his side of the story as to why he got banned off Twitch. To give you a TLDR about what happened, Dr. Disrespect got banned on Twitch in 2020. And after that, the reason why he was banned was very hush-hush up until early 2024, where it was revealed by somebody that worked at Twitch that Dr. Disrespect allegedly got banned for inappropriate messages with a minor in Twitch Whispers. So he starts it off by stating that there was a lawsuit between him and Twitch, which prevented both sides of the party from talking about the situation unless one party broke it. As in, if Twitch were to then break that and start talking about the situation, then he was then allowed to talk about the situation as well, or vice versa, which is why no party was talking about what happened for so long. And then he blames Cody Connors for leaking why he got banned and stating that he was a rat. And then when all of the situation was unfolding on Twitter, Dr. Disrespect had made a statement. So his statement, June 22nd, read, "Listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch," which is what I just referenced about neither party being able to talk about it, "but I just need to say what I can since this is the effing internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal, no wrongdoings was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday." And then he had another statement that was later deleted because I can't find it on his page anymore. But Twitter user What the F is a VO has a screenshot. In his statement, you can read, it says, "The Twitch ban. Hello, I'd like to make a quick statement. Let's cut the effing bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront, blah, blah, blah. First and foremost, I do want to apologize for everyone in my community, as well as those close to me, my team, and everybody at Midnight Society Game Studio. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families, and I'd never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that two former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate. Nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me." So here he says there were messages with an individual minor. So when this document was made, he originally wrote it like this, then he edited the document to then remove the word minor, will then be mentioned.
"Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? Don't know shit, and it was obvious from your tweet. You didn't have any firsthand knowledge of my dispute. You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whispers messages? Do you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? And yeah, I used Twitch's Whispers, but trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone."
This, at the end of the day, is very he said, she said. In this scenario, Twitch or whomever is employed by Twitch has more credibility than you, because the person who is employed by Twitch has the backing of an organization, whereas you are a streamer. If it is true, what you are saying, and that you did not sext a minor, then simply showing the DMs would prove it.
You also said the word minor. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement.
That's what he was referring to. This statement here where he wrote, "Were there Twitch messages with an individual minor back in 2017? Edited is because he originally wrote minor and then redacted it and deleted it.
To make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it. And boy, oh boy, did they ever.
I also think this part is weird. Again, apology statements are never good, right? Like anytime people are apologizing or saying their side when they are typically viewed as being in the wrong, it's never going to look good. So it's easy to nitpick and pull apart things. But I'm just saying, I think it's very weird to be like, I am so big brain for writing the fact that they're a minor so that I can catch journalists out. I just think that's weird because, like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? If there was an allegation that you were messaging a minor, but it's not true, and that person is 18 and over, then just say, hey, the person I was talking to was 19 years old. They are not a minor. They are a legal adult. It is good. You think that you're being humongous brain by, oh, I put the word minor in there to try to screw people over. But what it actually does, it makes you look very, very guilty. It makes you look like you were doing what people are accusing you of doing. So from a strategic standpoint, this is the stupidest decision you could ever make. And he needs a PR team to tell him to not type this out. Aside from that, why would you ever want to imply you're messaging a minor? Why would you ever want to imply that? I would never want to even jokingly imply that I was talking to a minor for suspicious reasons. I would not be able to sleep at night. It sounds to me like he made a mistake. He typed out minor and he was like, oh, like, oh my God, let me delete it. And then now he's trying to spin it in like I am so smart, when in reality, this is just weird, bro. This is not the big brain play you think it is.
When you and all these so-called journalists fired off your tweets, did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of time of the messages?
Twitter picked apart this part of his video or his stream, and I will too, because when he says, have you considered they may have been over the age of consent? He did not say, have you considered they were an adult? And the wording here is very important, okay? When you say they may have been over the legal age of consent, there are states in the US where the legal age of consent and the age that you are considered an adult is not the same. Where there are states where the legal age of consent is 16 years old. In America, we classify an adult as 18 or over. So when he says it that way, you're putting it in a very, very big gray area where by wording it over the age of consent, you're implying that it was not illegal where they live, but it is really fucking weird. It still makes that person not an adult. They are not 18. And I'm just saying right now, even if that person was 18, you are 42 years old, my guy. Even if they were 18, it's still fucking weird. So the fact that this person is allegedly over the age of consent in some states in the US, but again, let's just note, he did not say they were an adult. And the wording difference here is very important. So again, it makes it fucking weird. Best case scenario, they could be like 17 years old. And what does a 42-year-old have to do with talking with a 17-year-old?
Neither did any of these journalists, and neither did Twitch at the time of the ban.
Somebody can be over the age of consent in some US states and still not be considered an adult by most of America because we consider adults as 18 and over. It doesn't change the fact that it's fucking weird. And one thing I do want to point out too, why are you so intimately of the age of consent in states? I'm just saying, to me, that's weird, right? Because if you are very intimately aware of age of consent and all of that, that means you were looking into this information for most likely nefarious reasons. Like, I do not know what the age of consent is in US states, okay? I'm assuming, I know some states it's below 18 years old. I'm assuming it's 18 and over for most states. I don't know the state specifics. This state is 16, this state's... Because I'm not trying to do nefarious stuff. I am not trying to go and get with, I don't know, like 15-year-olds, okay, 16-year-olds. So therefore, I have no need for this information. And I have not sought out this information because I do not need it. So when you actively go and seek out this information, then it tells me that likely, allegedly, you are using this information. And why would you use the information about age of consent unless you were trying something? I'm just saying, right? Like, if I went out of my way to look up a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, it's because I have some intent on making chocolate chip cookies, or at least some interest in learning about the baking ingredients that go into cookies, for instance. I don't know, right? But if I have no intent in making chocolate chip cookies, I am not going to look up the recipe to make chocolate chip cookies. I do not know how to make soup because I do not like drinking soup. So I've never made soup in my life because I don't like drinking it. I have not looked up the age of consent in US states because I have no interest in meddling with people that are minors. So I'm just saying, this is just weird to me. This is just weird.
You also tried to tell the world that I was trying to meet up with this user but you're wrong. Let's set the record straight. I never intended to meet this user ever. We never made plans to meet at TwitchCon or anywhere else.
I again just have to say, could it be true that you've never met that person? It could have been true. But could it have been due to lack of opportunity? Or also because you literally genuinely have no intention? That we'll never know. It's again his word against Twitch's word. There is no proof that we have seen. We have not seen the DMs or whatever. And I think, at least for me, the simplest solution to clear your name, instead of being this is my word against Twitch's word, just show the DMs, bro. Just show the DMs where we can see that it was very wholesome and kiki. Maybe that person made fan art of you and you thank them for the fan art and that's all the conversation was. And then we're good. And you could be like, yeah, this is all a conversation. It was 2 messages. They sent me fan art. I said, thank you. And we moved on. And that's easy to prove. So I'm just saying, that to me is not the best defense, because when you say, I never did it, you could have had an intention to commit the crime and been caught before you were able to commit the crime. You know what I mean? But you still were intending to.
Your bullshit accusations gave false courage to former Twitch employees to make shit up as well. I even used the word.
Here he goes again with stating, oh my God, I'm so big brain by like purposely writing these things and using the word inappropriate. Again, I'm just saying, bro, this is not the big brain play you think it is. Maybe he thinks he's super smart with this. Like, best case scenario, he thinks he's an absolute genius with all of these schemes that he's pulling, and he is truly innocent. But why would you ever say things that could implicate you or say things that could paint you in a worse light than you already are when you're under all these accusations? That's just stupid to me. You either desperately need a PR team because it sounds like you don't have one, On the other side, you messed up and you use words like inappropriate and minor, and then later realized it was wrong and that it is implicating you, and are trying to backtrack by making yourself seem like a big brain genius. But this is not a genius move, okay? It is not a good social media ploy to do. And it leads me to think that, again, he messed up and he is trying to backtrack and cover it.
And look at how it's defined by everyone, champs.
Because again, I'm just saying, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I am in the minority here. I do not want any words out of my mouth that could implicate me doing suspicious activities with a minor. So I would never feel comfortable even typing something like that out to imply that I did something like that, because I did not. So how could you feel comfortable doing that? I don't know. I could never.
Including these defaming articles, mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place.
Mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes should not have led me to get banned off Twitch in the first place. So you admit that there were inappropriate jokes then with you and the minor. You say that it's mutual. Let's ignore the word mutual here. He says inappropriate banter with an individual should not have gotten me banned. So you admit to it then. You admit there was inappropriate jokes that were happening in DMs. So what's your defense here? You say that it never happened. You say that there was no sexting, but then you turn around and say there were inappropriate jokes that was mutual according to you. Yeah, so which is it, Doc? Which is it? And I don't even like calling him Doc, bro. He's all disrespect, no doctor out here. And again, I am just saying, in a situation like this, I do not believe that the minor could have reasonably consented. The age of consent is a legal term that legally determines state by state how old somebody is, to where you do not get implicated for involving yourself with a minor. As in, if the age of consent is 16 years old in a US state, that means that if that person is 16 and you engage in relations with them, then it is not considered doing stuff with a child, right? For most of America, we consider 18 to be an adult. Dr. Disrespect never once said the person that he communicated with was an adult. This leads me to believe they were not an adult, right? Because if that person that he was communicating with was 18 or over and is legally an adult, that he would have immediately said that. He would have been like, that person was over 18, they are an adult, I am innocent. All he said was, they are over the age of consent. Where exactly? So they are either 16 or 17 years old. Now imagine a 16 or 17-year-old communicating in DMs to Dr. Disrespect. Not only is there a massive age gap, because Dr. Disrespect is 42 years old, that person at the oldest is 17, which would make Dr. Disrespect over double their age. Which again, why are you entertaining somebody who is half your age in DMs, less than half your age actually? But on top of that, there is a massive power dynamic between the two. Dr. Disrespect is rich. Dr. Disrespect has a lot of connections and a lot of power due to his following. What does a 16 or 17-year-old have? Okay, I know when I was 16 or 17 years old, I barely had any money to my name. I was really, really happy when Forever 21 had sales because I could buy the little outfits that I liked. So the massive power and balance in this situation will tell me that may it have been mutual? Possibly, but the person who is 16 or 17 years old is going to be massively, massively influenced by talking to this much older, much larger creator with all this money, power, and influence. Of course, you're going to be swayed to then give in and say things that you may not have normally said or do things you may not have normally done. That's why I believe the whole term mutual in this scenario can't really be used, because the massive power dynamic makes it difficult, right? He says they were inappropriate jokes. So what are these inappropriate jokes you say, sir? You literally admitted to inappropriate jokes with somebody who is 16 or 17 years old. He says a whole lot of stuff, but it's like all the stuff that he's saying, you have to read in between the lines to get, because he never explicitly says anything.
How would each of you, if all of your private DMs were looked at, dissected, and taken out of context, who's deliberately trying to find something inappropriate in those words?
I'm just going to tell you right now, you can look through all of my DMs, all of my text messages, all of my messages with people, even if I have any with minors, which like the most that interaction goes is they make fan art of me. I thank them for the fan art and tell them they're an amazing artist, and it literally ends there, because I do not like talking to minors because I am 24 years old. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, my age is literally the reverse of Dr. Disrespect. Like I'm 24, but if you flip the numbers, you get this man's age. There's no way you can take any of my messages out of context to imply anything inappropriate. Could there have been somebody who is actively dissecting his messages to find any ounce of inappropriate messages in there? There has to be something for them to work with. You know what I mean? If there wasn't anything at all, they would not be able to find messages. There has to be at least something, like some inappropriate joke or suspicious message in there to be spun out of context. Again, things can be taken out of context to make them look a lot worse than they actually are. I'm just saying, I am presenting a very, very easy option here. If the messages are truly completely out of context, show us all of the DMs. Show us the DMs from start to finish so we can see the context. And then we, as the public, can make a decision for ourselves and deem you innocent because there is nothing in the DMs that's weird, according to you. It's that easy. It's truly that easy. It's like when artists get accused of using AI and all they have to do, you just go on Twitch and you stream your art process and everyone's like, oh wow, okay, now we can see that you're making all of your brushstrokes. Good. This one is even easier. Just post some screenshots, bro. And then, by the way, if there was no inappropriate messages, you post the screenshots, you clear your name, then so much more will come to you, right? All of the internet will rally behind you and be like, oh my God, the narrative will completely change. It will be Dr. Disrespect, the Twitch streamer that was completely wronged by the platform. Twitch will look like the absolute villain in this scenario and you will come out the hero. And we will all be like, oh my God, there was nothing at these DMs. Twitch has something against you. It is so easy to solve this problem. So where are the DMs?
And this is not a situation where a victim publicly accuses someone of wrongdoing.
He says, again, the victim never publicly accused me. They can't. Let's revisit the power dynamic. It is, again, a 16 or 17-year-old teenager, a child, by the way, versus a 42-year-old man with a wife who's rich and has a fuck ton of subscribers. Like, who's gonna win here, okay? If that poor 16 or 17-year-old comes out publicly and makes an accusation, all of Dr. Disrespect's fan base will absolutely dogpile the shit on that poor person, and they will get canceled off the internet. They will get hate messages, death threats, and doxxed to absolute hell. Yeah, they're not winning that one.
We're talking about allegations that Twitch made against me as a half-baked reason for justifying their actions of suspending and shutting down my channel. Allegations that Twitch made without even a legal analysis of whether the whisper messages were legal.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Something could be on paper legal and still really fucking creepy and weird, okay? You being a 42-year-old man DMing a 17-year-old girl and sending, suspicious, inappropriate jokes back and forth to each other. It may be legal depending on what state that person lives in. It's really, 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 really fucking weird. But anyways, he spends the next 6-7 minutes of this stream. I will give you the summary because he yaps about the same thing. He basically blames a certain partner manager for having a vendetta against him to get him banned. He says that this manager originally brought it to Twitch and then they kind of glossed over it. This is all alleged. This is all what he said, by the way. And that manager then escalated it to somebody who was on vacation. But then they together reviewed the situation, and in 1 hour, while that person was on vacation, Dr. Disrespect got banned. So Dr. Disrespect says because of that, it is not a fair ban because they didn't spend a lot of time looking over it. He's trying to imply that their research of his situation was not deep enough. But what that tells me is it could be that their research wasn't deep enough, or your messages were so fucked up it only took them 1 hour to decide that you're not worth keeping on the platform. Food for thought here. But yeah, so he accuses that one specific partner manager of cherry picking DMs to make him look as bad as possible to get him banned. His defense is that he says the other party says it was not inappropriate. Could it be true that that person said nothing was inappropriate? It could be true, right? But I'm also led to believe that that person, that teenager, likely could be coerced or feel pressured to not say anything due to the amount of power Dr. Disrespect holds. This is the same situation where some victims of abuse will sometimes defend their abusers. And this is not because the victim is stupid. This is not because the victim is any sort of way, right? And it's also not because the victim is necessarily in a right state of mind. A lot of times it's because they have been victims of abuse for a long time. They are trying to defend their abuser for fear of retaliation. And it's not because they think that their abuser did not do anything wrong, but they're afraid of what would happen to them if they were to stand up. I am not trying to explicitly say Dr. Disrespect is an abuser. Do not put words in my mouth. His behaviors are really fucking weird though. That it happens. It happens in scenarios where the victim or the other party is inclined to not speak up about what happened to them due to fear of what could happen to them as a result of speaking up. Could it be true that that other individual genuinely thinks nothing inappropriate happened? It could be true. It could also be possible that that person feels like they're not in a position where they could speak up. The easiest solution is post fucking DMs. Even if Doc posted the DMs of that person being like, nothing happened, I wouldn't believe it. That person, again, like I said, the individual, the minor, may not be in a position where they could stand up. So yeah, he says that, oh, they never interviewed me or any parties involved before determining the ban. Which, again, this could go two ways, right? It could be that Twitch was negligent. It could also be the fact that the DMs are so fucked up, they didn't even need to do any interviews before banning you. It could go either way.
The judge in the case determined that the whispers were not illegal.
Give us proof of this. It's again, he said, she said. If this allegedly is true, we can revisit my previous statement where something could technically be legal in the eyes of the law and still be really fucking weird. Because again, you are 42 years old.
So then why did Twitch use...
By the way, he is 42 and married and has a kid. So yeah, Dr. Disrespect's kid is like 8 or 9 years old, by the way. Don't you have better things to do than be talking to a 16 or 17-year-old online?
Twitch treat the doc so differently from their other streamers?
I also do want to point this out. He says this and he will then spend the next 10 minutes harping about this. He feels like Twitch has a vendetta against him and gives other streamers preferential treatment over him, and that they have a vendetta against him and that they are aiming to try to like take him off the platform and they are trying to take him down. That is his sentiment. Like, could it be true? Yeah. But is it probable? I mean, from Twitch as a company's perspective, the company would be incentivized to keep streamers that make them a lot of money on the platform. Dr. Disrespect, given his size, would be a streamer that would make them a lot of money. So I am not very likely to believe they have an absolute vendetta against him, specifically because, again, they would benefit from having a streamer of his size on the platform. Well, you know, ignoring the fact that he's problematic, but benefit financially.
Athlete, bourbon, business, gaming, studio, beautiful family. And trust me, we've worked for over a decade to improve as a person and to get where we're at today.
So yeah, he hypes up his accolades, being like, why would you ever not like me? You know, I am this, that, and the third. Do I think these statements are true? It's subjective, right? I do not think he's gorgeous. He's just not my type, like, at all. Regardless, you mentioned that you have a beautiful family. Should you not be spending time with your family and not 16 or 17-year-olds on the internet? But I digress. But again, this is honestly giving narcissist. This is like giving narcissist stroking his own ego or other member and enjoying himself while he is pulling the whole, woe is me, everybody hates me, Twitch hates me, they have a vendetta against me. I feel like sometimes we can just acknowledge that maybe you aren't as cool as you think you are, and that there could be actual valid reasons as to why people or platforms like Twitch may not like you. Just throwing that out there.
And all these people, they all act like they're just so perfect. I don't claim to be perfect, but I also didn't do all this shit that they're saying I did. But then that doesn't make a story, right? They wanted media attention. And by sensationalizing all this...
Again, he has this like notion that Twitch and everybody else is preying on his downfall, which I mean, I'm not gonna lie, right? Some people probably are because he's a very controversial figure, but show us it's not true. And then the media would love it. It would be the media shitstorm that everybody would love. It is sensationalized, but this time Twitch will be the villain in this story and you will emerge the hero. The poor Dr. Disrespect that was completely taken out of context. The platform had a vendetta against you and you were so wrong by the platform, Twitch, and the public. All you need to do is release the DMs and the narrative would switch to your side. It is true that you did not do what you said you did.
The reality is they wanted to cut down the doc. Take a look at some of these horrendous acts of Twitch streamers that were never banned. I've got some examples right here. Example number 1, a streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent.
Yeah, but basically he goes on to be like, hey, look, these other streamers did bad stuff, so they never got banned, so like, why me? Again, 2 wrongs don't make a right, okay? Could it be a sign that the justice system is not fair? It also does not make you innocent, you know what I mean? Just because the justice system is not fair, if you committed a crime, you are still a criminal. Again, I'm using this as an analogy. I am not out here implying Dr. Disrespect is a criminal. Allegedly, his behavior with people in DMs that are under the age of 18 is really fucking weird. Allegedly, because I'm not trying to get sued. We see this in apologies from time to time or statements where people will be like, oh, but look at these other people who did something much worse than me and they didn't get in trouble, so therefore I shouldn't get in trouble. Like, you are very disingenuous when you start throwing other people under the bus when you are experiencing the hot seat for what you did. Let's just focus on you, right? You're so narcissistic and talking about all your accolades, but why can't you keep talking about yourself when it comes to accountability? Instead of dragging other people. Again, should people who are doing other bad things on Twitch get banned or experience repercussions? Yes. But again, that's not this conversation. This conversation is about you and your DMs with that minor. So that's just weird to me. He then goes on to say that he thinks the reason why his ban happened was because 2 expensive streamers were leaving Mixer, so him getting his contract terminated with Twitch would free up some more money of theirs to go and spend on those streamers. And then he also says that because of his ban, he has to go lay people off. Again, sorry to the people who are laid off, but if we revisit Dr. Disrespect's Instagram page, his most recent photo is him sitting on a very expensive, I'm like 99% sure this is a a Lamborghini. So I can't really be too sympathetic to you being allegedly sad about having to lay people off if your vehicle is this expensive. Could it have been a sponsored vehicle that he doesn't own? Possibly. I am not very likely to be sympathetic because I know that his lifestyle is expensive. So if you truly were so sorry about the impact that you would have on the other employees' lives by laying them off, then you would be sorry enough to cut down your lifestyle. You could continue employing them. That's just me though. Who am I to go and tell you how to spend your money? I'm just saying I can't feel very sympathetic to him in this scenario.
I'm not saying anything more about any of this, unless I need to, because trust me, I have more I haven't disclosed to what we do best and climb our way to the tippity top in our own lane.
So that's how Dr. Disrespect wraps it up, saying he's not going to talk about it more. He wants to climb to the best or the tippy top, yada, yada, yada.
Show the message. Release the messages. Show the message. What are we in second grade? So like I said, YouTube demonetized us. We have September 25th.
So yeah, when asked to show the messages, he says, what are we in second grade? And that to me tells me that he is guilty, or has at least nefarious things he's trying to hide. Because again, this whole scenario is his word versus Twitch's word. And again, Twitch being a platform and a company has a lot more credibility than a streamer who has a persona of being a very controversial figure. If everything is allegedly false and that Twitch is lying and they have a vendetta against Dr. Disrespect and they have cherry-picked DMs to make you look as bad as possible, but with context, everything could be explained, showing the DMs is the easiest way to clear your name. And I cannot have sympathy to somebody who is out here boo-hoo crying, being victimized allegedly. The alleged proof to free his name and clear his name right at his fingertips, but he's not showing it. For what reason exactly? Because he never said why he wouldn't show it. Is it for the privacy of the individual involved? If that's the case, you can just censor their name out. It's in Twitch Whisper, so there's literally no way we would know who that person is, unless that person were to then come out publicly and admit it. All of this would easily be cleared with the DMs being posted. If it is true that there was nothing inappropriate in those DMs, Dr. Disrespect only serves to gain from posting those messages. If it is true that there is nothing in there, he would only serve to lose if there were suspicious or nefarious messages sent. So by choosing to not post the DMs, screenshots and proof that would clear his name, switch the narrative and make him look like the hero and the poor victim of Twitch in this scenario. It's just weird to me. It's a weird call. Just like I think it's very weird that in his statement, he said that there were whisper messages with an individual minor, and then later is trying to spin it as a huge big brain 3000 IQ play by him. I do not believe that. I do not believe this for one bit. And other people have their 2 cents to throw in on this. Jake Lucky, who is a Twitter user that reports on the news, states, a lot to sift through on this one. Can't help but think showing the messages is the easiest way to clear up the confusion of Twitch's interpretation of the messages and the public's. But clearly that won't be done. It does seem that Twitch is not entirely innocent in this process, but this made more questions than answers. Chev says, it's bizarre to me that such a highly controversial case of internet drama like this has featured practically zero evidence of guilt or innocence. The longest trail of he said, she said that I've seen in recent memory, especially since it's hard to hide stuff in the digital era. So again, there is no alleged evidence because again, it is he said, she said by Twitch accusing Dr. Disrespect of the messages, Dr. Disrespect saying he did not. But here he literally says, were there whispers with an individual minor? The answer is yes. And in his live, let's not gloss over the fact that he literally said there were mutual inappropriate jokes.
I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place.
He said that in his live stream. Is it true or is it not? Did you not send inappropriate messages? Did you actually send inappropriate messages? Because you literally wrote it out. And again, he is out here trying to spin it as this humongo brain play to catch the journalist red-handed, but you literally admit to messaging a minor. If it is not true, why would you make a statement that would implicate you? That is, again, the stupidest shit you could ever do from a PR standpoint, from a legal standpoint. Why would you say this if it's not true? Because you only dig yourself further in the shithole. And then Jake tweeted a screenshot of what Nick Merckx tweeted, where he wrote this R word, which I again do not agree with y'all using this word, flinging it around, saying Dr. Disrespect is married with children, pushing 40. Yep, he's 42, admits to texting a minor inappropriately. His words, not mine. So I cut ties because obviously that's inexcusable. Now I'm a shit friend for not having his back. Bunch of brain rot morons on this app. And it's Bobby Socks makes a very valid point. When the worst person you know makes a good point, that's when you know you've effed up, bro. If Nick Merckx is right, that's when you know you're far in the shit. Then we have this tweet by Dejari, I hope I'm reading their name right, stating, "We're in a community that Dr. Disrespect can admit to having inappropriate sex with a minor and still return with millions of supporters. This space is not safe for women and girls." And it's Slumpy adds, and I really want to bump this too. "I just find the hypocrisy crystal clear. Trans people and LGBTQ as a whole are constantly accused of being a danger to kids. But the same crowd who say that and yell, 'Protect the kids,' because again, if you guys aren't familiar with the whole narrative, there's a whole narrative of people being like, oh my God, trans people are a danger to children because they're trying to push trans narratives into kids, blah, 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 blah. It's a fucking mess. But basically, a lot of transphobes like to accuse transgender people of being PDF files." And then Slumpy adds, "Then defend and support Dr. Disrespect on a daily basis, despite him admitting he's a PDF file." And yeah, the hypocrisy is definitely not lost on me. Whereas everybody loves flinging around the narrative of protect the kids. This is why I don't support trans people. It's not because I don't support trans people. It's because I want to protect the kids. I don't like that narrative personally. Then again, when somebody literally on Twitter admits were there messages with a minor, and then in his live stream, he says there were mutual inappropriate. Yeah, this is so fucking weird. And again, something could technically be considered legal, but still be extremely motherfrickin' weird. The Toxic Jedi posted this meme. "Hey kids over the age of consent want to have an inappropriate conversation with me, Dr. Diddler," and it's Dr. Disrespect with his hands together in like a scheming move. And yet everybody in the comments are so weird. We have the Act Man on Twitter writing, "Dr. Disrespect admits to sexting a minor, but he deletes his confession and pretends it was a 1000 IQ play to, quote, expose corrupt journalists, end quote, or something, and people still defend him. Absolutely insane levels of copium being inhaled." The Act Man says, "Also, don't forget that multiple sources have said that Doc continued sending sexually explicit messages to the minor after learning her age." And Legend of Higgy is adding, "The mental gymnastics people are doing to defend this guy is actually astonishing. I wonder if the same people would defend him if they considered him woke. The answer, no for the majority." The Act Man says, "Mother effer literally said, quote, did you ever consider that the user may have been over the legal age of consent, end quote. May have, so there's some doubt. By the way, ask any woman and they'll tell you the reason creeps like Doc go for the youngest legal age is because they can't go any lower than that." At the end of the day, a lot of people have this take. This is by No Rambler writing, "He didn't say he was sexting, he said it would be inappropriate. There's a huge difference." The Act Man says the allegation he responded to was that he sexted a minor, and he admitted to messaging the person inappropriately. "You're a smart person. I think you can put two and two together and figure out what that means." A lot of people defending Dr. Disrespect are saying they are defending him by stating he said he didn't do it, and he never said he sexted a minor, so therefore he's innocent. Welcome to Kat's kindergarten class, where I will teach you some common sense, okay? Legally, Dr. Disrespect will not go live on his Twitch stream and admit, "Hey guys, I'm a PDF file that inappropriately sexted a 16-year-old. He's legally not going to admit that, because that would be the social way to shoot yourself in the foot and send yourself to jail. We can then take what he said, the two things he said, and do the math. Put two and two together, and what do we get, guys, okay? Dr. Disrespect made a statement where he said, "Were there messages between me and a minor? Here is the proof." He then deleted it, but this is from his Twitch page where he wrote, "Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. So, class, what does being a minor mean? It means they are under the age of 18. Now, class, what else did Dr. Disrespect say in his live stream? He said,
I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place."
If we put two and two together, he said there were Twitch messages with a minor, and he said there were inappropriate conversations with that individual. Let's do the math, guys. What does that mean? That means Dr. Disrespect said, disjointedly, but he said that he had messaged a minor and messaged inappropriate jokes with them. What does that make him, guys? You can come to your own conclusion. Of course, again, he's not going to explicitly be like, "Yep, I'm a PDF file." Of course, he's not going to say that. We can then take what he did say and glean the actual meaning from that. Anyways, I have no hope left for society, honestly. How can a man like this get welcomed back to the internet with so many people defending him is absolutely beyond me. Why do these people put their energy to doing something actually good and productive for once in their lives? I don't know, man. Defending Dr. Disrespect for this scenario is not it. I, again, don't want to hear the defense also, "Oh, it's just his character." Like, for people like him at this point, he probably doesn't even know the line where his Dr. Disrespect character ends and where he begins, because he's been acting this character for so long. And regardless, the messages are there. And the final thought that I have is it's so easy to prove he is innocent by releasing the DMs, but he will not. And that to me tells me that the man is guilty. So anyways, what are your thoughts with this entire Dr. Disrespect scenario? I do not support that guy whatsoever. Everybody who dropped him is extremely valid for doing so. I don't know why people are saying all his friends are fake as fuck. If I found out my friends are PDF files, I'm no longer friends with you, because that is fucking weird and I don't want to be friends with you if you're like that. So anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, I appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe. And I also do stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. Hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos.